Hey, what's up, Muppet fans? It's Wonder Librarian here, and of course I'm here to talk about one of my favorite topics, as always, the Muppets. So today I thought I would do a bit more of a deep dive. I am kind of borderline obsessed with the old MGM Hollywood Studios now, that's here in Orlando, Florida, and it did a lot of digging about old Muppet attractions when I remember from when I was a kid, and ones that I've read about and never seen, and stuff like that. So I thought I would take you all on a deep dive, talk about some of the old things that used to be there, every single remnant I can find, starting with Hollywood Studios first, and then talking about the other parks probably in other videos. So come along with me, talk about Muppets, and let's do this. So I'm standing in front of Theater of the Stars at Hollywood Studios, which was once upon a time part of a Muppets attraction, a Lost Muppets attraction that I actually just learned about today. It was called Hollywood's Pretty Woman. It featured life-size Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy. This is the only attraction that opened in Jim Henson's lifetime in 1989, so it was part of a fuller show with some little Hollywood bits, and apparently Roger Rabbit was the producer in the show, and Mickey, Minnie, and Kermit and Piggy were trying to impress him with a whole bunch of Hollywood little show tunes. So yeah, Hollywood's Pretty Woman featuring the Muppets, the very first Muppets attraction, is featured right here. So yeah, Hollywood's Pretty Woman was something that I had a hard time finding anything on aside from a picture and knowing that Roger Rabbit had a really big 80s cell phone in it and there was some dancing bananas. So I think it would have been a really cool show to see. It's a little bit before my time, don't know a whole lot about it. I think it was just there to kind of get people excited about the Muppets coming to the park. That would be my theory, mix them in with Mickey, Minnie, some familiar characters, you know, see how the full-length Muppet suits are going. So Hollywood's Pretty Woman, the show I never knew about, and I enjoy it. So we're standing in front of the Little Mermaid show, and it's closed right now, but once upon a time it was home to the second Muppet show here in Hollywood Studios, which is now long lost, but it was Here Come the Muppets. So it featured a lot of full-size Muppets, so the Electric Mayhem performed, Fozzie was there, Kermit was there, the whole gang, and it actually opened in June 15th, 1990, and the whole Henson family was here. I'll show a picture of that, and it lasted until about 1991 when they opened the Little Mermaid. I'll talk a little bit more about what the show is all about in a second, but yeah, it was right here at Little Mermaid. So yeah, Here Come the Muppets was a short-lived show. Like I was saying, it was from 1990 to 1991. It actually featured the recordings of Jim Henson, and one cool thing I learned about was that he had created this whole style guide type of thing, explaining each Muppet. It had drawings in it, a lot about their personalities, so I guess it was for the Muppet performers that would actually wear the suits to kind of embody their characters, so I thought that was a really neat fact. So basically the basic plot was, you know, Kermit's on stage and there's this, you know, new Muppet show and Mickey's their boss. He calls them on video phone, and of course the Muppets are nowhere to be found, so it's all about Kermit trying to wrangle them. Lily Tomlin has a little part in it. She's on a video phone too, I guess trying to patch them in and stuff. And then of course eventually I think the mayhem crashes in a monorail, and then the whole show starts, and it's a kind of musical medley, so I'll make sure to show some clips of that here as well. And yeah, it had a bit of a song list here, so Make Him Laugh from Singin' in the Rain, Personality, Being Green, Kermit the Frog of course, Heart of Rock and Roll, and Shout. So yeah, that's one that I never saw myself either, but Here Come the Muppets was the very first full-length Muppet show at MGM Studios back when. Only lasted for a year, but again, it would have been really cool to see it. I should also mention that it actually did have a 25-second promotional video. It had Robin Leach as the narrator, and it featured all the Muppets doing cool stuff around MGM Studios, so I'll show a little bit about that here, but yeah, who doesn't want that kind of intro video? So after Here Come the Muppets closed, we're at another Muppets location here. So it was Swine and Rose's Muppets On Location, so it showed up from 1991 to 1994. It was kind of a whole thing about Muppets and movies. So I think it's supposed to be kind of a quasi-replacement for the Muppet movie ride that was supposed to be here. But I'll show a picture of Kermit, but then right behind me you can also see that the Bunsen honeydew up there is kind of similar to the globe that you see in the picture, and the clock is also there. So if you just swing around with me for a second. So if you imagine in 1991, this would have been open. They used the apartment facade that was back there. They had a whole Muppet stage show, and then they also had some of the Muppet trailers. So Miss Piggy's was there. Fozzie had a little lift thing and stuff. So Muppet Swine and Roses was all along here, and that was 1991 to 94. And now we've come to the part where we talk about one of my most favorite Muppets things that was ever at MGM. I do remember seeing this as a kid and I loved it. My only regret is that I didn't actually go and meet the Muppets, and I have no pictures, but I'm sure there was so much to do that day. So Swine and Rose's Muppets On Location was there from, like I was saying, about 91 to 94. featured Steve Whitmire as Kermit, replacing Jim Henson in his roles. And the plot of that one was kind of more like that the Muppets were on location, filming a video, like kind of like a music video or a special. And Miss Piggy was a florist of some kind, and I do remember there being a thing where she would be sneezing, and so it said like a chew on the building, and the audience had to say Gesundheit, stuff like that. So that's kind of how the plot started. So, you know, just getting started filming. And then there was a portion in the middle of the show where they take the Muppets down. So it was Kermit, Gonzo, Fozzie, Miss Piggy, and Bean Bunny. They'd go out and meet the crowds. That's what I'm talking about. And then the mayhem would play for an extended period of time. So that's pretty cool. So I've got plenty of pictures to show here and some video. So it also had Frank Oz as Miss Piggy, Fozzie, and Animal, Richard Hunt as Janice, Jerry Nelson as Floyd Pepper, Dave Goelz as Gonzo and Zoot, and like I was saying, Steve Whitmire as Kermit and Bean Bunny, and John Kennedy as Dr. Teeth. And in terms of a song list, we had things like Great Balls of Fire, On the Road Again, Yakety Sax, Feelings, and Obla Di Obla Da, which I remember from a show called Life Goes On. Super cool. So I do remember seeing that. I saw the sets, especially Miss Piggy's trailer, that really stuck out in my mind. And I'm thinking that the reason it was ever moved back there was because it's closer to the Muppet area. So Here Come the Muppets is across the park, basically, right all the way on the other side. So I think it was a way to kind of compensate for not getting the Muppet movie ride that was originally planned there. So it's kind of like a Muppets filming medley show with the, you know, Here Come the Muppets, full-length puppets that they had. So yeah, I loved experiencing that when I was a kid. I wish they still had, you know, Muppet meet and greets, but hey, Muppet Vision 3D is still there, and I still love that. One notable mention that I wanted to actually put in here too was in 1992, there was a part of the studio backlot tour called Backstage Pass, which was basically a large studio stage that had a whole bunch of props and stuff. It actually had a full-scale model of London from Muppet Christmas Carol and some animatronic pigs, which I think are so cool. I'll show some pictures here. I do vaguely remember seeing that when I was there. I don't know whatever happened to it, but it was a walkthrough attraction and only there for a short time. So I just wanted to mention that. So we had Muppets in 1989 with the Hollywood's Pretty Woman. We had Here Come the Muppets between 90 and 91, and then we had Swine and Roses Muppets on Location between 91 and 94, and in between that, Muppet Christmas Carol stuff all in a row there. So not a bad run for Muppets during the 90s. So we're at another Lost Muppet location here in Hollywood Studios. So if you look behind me, and I'll actually show a photo for comparison. So this is where the movie stars and motor cars parade went by. So it was from 2001 to about 2008. So the Muppets were a feature of this. They were actually in a car, the full-length ones, with a little blimp, and Sweetums used to walk behind them. So yeah, Muppet stars, movie cars right here, Hollywood Studios. And that's going to do it for my deep dive on Muppet content at the Disney parks, specifically the old MGM Studios / Hollywood Studios. I will talk a little bit about Epcot. I will talk a little bit about MGM in future videos. There's not as many attractions to document there, but there are some, so that's really cool. And of course, I can't stop talking about Muppets. So if you remember any of these attractions, if you want to add anything to this video, please feel free, or just talk about your favorite Muppet or Muppet movie. It's all good. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the future. Bye.
You guys were fantastic. Let's hear it for the Electric Mayhem Band.